What's up, guys? My name is Colin Moriarty. I'm senior editor of IGN. I'm here with the illustrious Ryan McCaffrey. He's executive editor of IGN. Ryan,
how's it going, Colin?
So you reviewed recently Dungeons and Dragons. What is it?
Chronicles of Mystara. It is a bundle. It is both of the classic coin-op games from the '90s, Tower of Doom and Shadows over Mystara.
Okay.
In one $15 downloadable package for 360, which is what we're on here. Via Live Arcade, PlayStation Network, and also Steam on the PC.
Cool. So these were arcade games originally, as you said. And what have they kind of done? Are we going to kind of see what they've done to kind of give them a new gloss?
Yeah, let's jump in first and at least get the game going. So, yeah, we're not signed in right now. So I am a big fan of the dwarf. If you press start, you'll get in there, Colin.
Okay, I'll be the fighter, I guess.
All right.
You can see where a Dragon's Crown gets some of its inspiration just by that stage select screen.
So we'll just pick names. La 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 la. Let's get right in there.
My name's gonna be Poop.
Poop. All right.
Is that
Good
all right?
name for a fighter. You'd fit right in on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no doubt.
So these games are basically Golden Axe clones at their heart, right? I mean, they're side-scrolling, they're jump with the B, attack with A, use your selected power or item with X, and scroll through those items or magic abilities with the Y button. So
is this the kind of the standard look for the game? Obviously, this is the way the game did look. I mean, but there's some kind of, is there like a kind of an HD gloss here, or are we going to see anything?
Yeah, you bet. So right now you can see, I mean, they've done, I think, a pretty good job. This is a very natural look to it. You probably look at this and think, oh, this is how it looked on the arcade. But if we hit the pause menu, we can go into, this is one of, I think, the high points of this collection that I think they've really treated it with care. If we go into the settings and we go into the view, so you can turn the smoothness on or off. Let's just turn that off real quick, and you can see. All right, going back to this is more how it looked back in the day, back on the arcade cabinet. And then if we can turn the scan lines on to really make it look like a CRT.
Oh, that's
now,
cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, now it looks like we're at an arcade cabinet, but does not end there with the visual options. I actually really like, you can turn on widescreen for a little modern day action. Now that
and zooms in a little bit, yeah.
This looks
just a little bit
really whacked out with the scan lines and everything turned on. Now this brings up quickly another point. This is what I loved about these games back in the day. You could go to the arcade again and again, and there were, it forks. The game forks, the path. Let's go to town.
Okay, and a clever way to get more coin out of you back in the day. Absolutely. So, oh, poor townspeople. Old games like this, though, have, I mean, we both come from the old school, and these games have such charm.
They do. I mean, so what I was starting to say, actually, let me just finish my point about the visuals to show off those. So, I really, so this stuff, turning the filters on and off, the smoothness on and off, the scan lines on and off. But I really liked, check out the different views here. We can actually play it as if we're at the cabinet.
That's cool.
I mean, you probably wouldn't really want to play this way.
No, definitely not.
But it's a nice touch.
Yeah, it is cool. It's thoughtful.
And you can even, although you could actually play this way, as if you're standing at the cabinet.
Yeah,
this is pretty workable.
You got your quarter above the joystick ready to go next when someone dies.
Yeah, exactly.
Old arcade rules. It's sad that no one really plays in arcades anymore, except for like some specialty shops.
Arcades are gone. That's the problem.
It's sad.
Remember when we were kids, the arcades were the top-of-the-line graphics.
Yeah.
Now the consoles have them beat hands down, which, of course, is good in the end. But
yeah, you'd often wonder when you're playing arcade games, is this going to come to NES? Is this going to come to SNES?
Yeah, like when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, came over to the original Nintendo, it was like, that was the best Christmas ever for me when I got that for Christmas as a kid. But even it was considered a good port, but it looked nowhere near as good as the coin-op cabinet.
All right,
so let's go back to a more sensible modern view.
Okay.
We'll just turn this off. We'll get the smooth filter on. I kind of like it. Now, what I like, another little presentation thing they've done, you can see on the left rail there, the left side where we're not doing anything, it's sort of in-game challenge / achievement trackers. It lets you know how close you are to your various achievements, challenges, and trophies at all times. I enjoyed that. But
yeah, I will definitely take advantage of that when I jump in myself.
You know, Colin, I gave this game an 8.3 largely on the basis of I still think this is fun, because as we started to say, it is very much a Golden Axe type game at its core. But it's got all these D&D systems, these little layers and nuances built on top of it. And we've got 4 player classes, which I know Golden Axe had player classes as well. But we've got experience points. You come to shops between the missions where you can buy items. We mentioned the branching paths, so the game really can be played a number of different ways. It's like, of course, it wasn't the only game. Remember Outrun? You could, of course, go any number of different ways to play through that game. But
yeah, still at the time, though, we kind of take those kinds of things for granted or expect them in games now, and then that was definitely a rarity back in the early 90s.
We do, but yeah, so there's just a lot, and obviously, you can have a good time by yourself, but it's so much fun when you get friends involved. I mean, it's just you and I right now, but in a 4-player game, it's just a treat. Of course, benefits of modern gaming, you've got unlimited continues. Just press start there, and you're back in the game.
No more quarter sucking out
there. They've been kind enough to add online play, as we've seen from many reinvigorated classics re-released this generation. And it is good in the sense that when it works, it's totally smooth. But I ran into some random disconnects and read up online. Some other folks had the same issue. So there seems to be a little bit of weirdness with the network code where you might just drop a game for no reason and then have to replay a level, which is a little annoying.
Yeah, that is annoying. And you were saying too that you can't kind of mix and match, which is disappointing.
That's the real travesty of this. That the only thing I think is really just fatally flawed. You can't have the two of us. See, we're sitting here, you and I, in front of our Xbox in the IGN office. We're offline. We can't invite in an online friend to this. You have to either be all of you online or all of you in the same room. There's no mixing and matching, which I really think is just a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense, but it's probably just easier for them to get it out the door without having to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are reasons for it, both political, financial, what have you. But at the end of the day, for the guy spending $15 on the game who wants to play, with 2 buddies, maybe, 2 cousins who live in the same house on the opposite coast, and you can't do that.
Right. Yeah, it is a little disappointing, but kind of keeps the ambience of the original experience of having to have someone by your side. Although you're not going to always have 4 players at your, or 3 other players at your house.
Very true. But yeah, it's and now we're playing. So let's pop out of this and check out the other game, Shadow over Mystara, real quick.
Yeah, which one kind of did you prefer?
So we jumped into Tower of Doom. Although I gotta say, it's very odd when you first start up the game, or at least when I did, it defaulted to Shadow over Mystara, the sequel.
Yeah.
Which just made no sense to me. Like,
maybe it's because they think that's the better game, so they kind of want to get you in there?
I mean, it is the better game, and I talk about that in the review, but it still just seems odd that you would start with the sequel. So all you got to do is, you can see in the lower right there, you just press the back button or select on your PlayStation controller to switch over to the Shadow over Mystara menu. We'll just jump into this real fast and then wrap this up. But I've it's part nostalgia fueling this, as it always is with these kinds of games. But by and large, I do think it's still fun. It's still fun to roll through this. It's about an hour. And let's see. So, by the way, Shadow over Mystara, we've got 2 new classes: the Thief and the Magic User.
I like how it's Magic U. Yeah. I mean, I often wonder, Ryan, because Mega Man 3 is my favorite game of all time, and I love the old Mega Man Castlevania games. But I wonder, if you didn't grow up with these games, do you appreciate them as much? So, do you think if someone's in high school right now or someone's in college, they clearly didn't grow up with these games?
Correct.
Do you send them back and you have them play and kind of get into it?
I think there's definitely value here if you were born in the 90s. There's still
it's hard to believe anyone was born in the 90s.
And this game's, we're playing a game from 1996 right now, so this game may have been born the same time you were, depending on how old you are to the folks listening and watching this. But there is value here, and it's just a fun. If you're not in your 30s or above like you and I are, it's you're not quite there. You're getting close, but there's still value there as. Not even history, just it's a fun beat 'em up. You get together with friends, either here on a couch like we are, or online with your buddies, and you roll through the game. You make some different choices. You fight some classic D&D monsters like liches and red dragons and beholders and stuff. And And Shadow of Mystara is about an hour and 10 minutes long, and the Tower of Doom's about an hour. And again, there's plenty of replay value, both built in with the branching paths and with some of these. They've got this challenge system that they've added very organically, where as you do things in the game, like these things happening on the left side of the screen, like kill 30 enemies of any type, like those are not only achievements and trophies but challenges as well, and they'll unlock things in the game that you can turn on and off. They call them house rules. Like one of them for this one is vampirism, where when it's just a fun thing you can turn on, where when you hit an enemy, you're actually stealing their life. So it's almost impossible to die. Or there's another one that you can turn on where you bleed gold instead of money. So when if you get hit enough, if you run out of gold, you're dead.
Right.
So it's just fun stuff like that.
That sounds great. I mean, I like, by the way, just the challenge system, I like how, since the ratio is in 4:3, that's kind of just a clever way to use the empty space.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they can find your review on IGN PlayStation, IGN Xbox, IGN PC, all that.
You bet. YouTube. All your favorite places. But really enjoyed this. The online faults are a bit of a shame, but otherwise it is a very, very lovingly crafted port. And I should note, the first time this has ever come out on a home console in English. This came out as the Dungeons & Dragons collection for the Sega Saturn in '99, but only in Japan. So This is the first time we're getting it in English, and it's been a long time coming, and it makes me happy.
Cool, Ryan. Well, for all things old school and new school, you can always keep it tuned to IGN.com.